Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the WrightsFootball.com podcast presented by Rice Tires, where we go in chronological order to recap every game in the history of Rice High School football. I'm your host, Dan Engler. Let's go back in time to October 1920. Last week, the Panthers were clobbered by Owensville 33-6. That episode and all our podcasts are available by going to WrightsFootball.com and clicking on podcast in the top menu. This week, the Panthers have a rematch against the team they beat in their first game, the Mount Vernon Wildcats. The Posey County School had lost a big one to Morganfield of Kentucky last week, 73-6, and were now 0-3. However, Mount Vernon miraculously vaporized Rice 36-6, correct? When looking back decades later, newspaper articles show the 1920 Panthers as having finished 1-3. All Rice football historians have this game as a loss. But here's the thing. We didn't lose that game. We actually won 36-6. So how does a game that was the young Panthers' biggest win turn into a loss in the eyes of history? To be honest, I don't know. The late Mr. James Claiborne, a Hall of Fame Rice football historian, during his thorough research of Rice high school football usually got things right. However, I noticed a long time ago that his 1920 page had whited out Rice winning this game and indicated that Mount Vernon had won. Also whited out was their win-loss record, changed to the Panthers finishing 1-3 in 1920. I just figured it was a typo that he corrected and didn't think much of it. Newspaper accounts from decades later all point to a 1-3 season, alas, a loss for this game. But when researching this game for the podcast, I was able to find the truth. While neither the Courier nor the Press printed a result, the Evansville Journal and Ojai Hill Yearbook report that the final score was 36-6 in favor of the Panthers. While the yearbook article doesn't say who scored any of the points, it looks like Ralph Woods was once again the all-star. The recap states that, quote, the game was featured by Woods' long passes and long gains by other Rice players, end quote. The Journal's recap adds more insight. In total, 5 Panthers scored touchdowns. Woods had one with 2 touchdown passes to Sutton. Fisher, Johnson, and Reed also scored, with the latter setting a school record with a 60-yard touchdown run. Rice improved to 2-1, while the Wildcats fell to 0-4. Next week, we'll revisit the Panthers' season finale against the Giants of Boonville High School. Remember, this podcast is brought to you free of charge by our friends at Rice Tires. As the series continues, we'll eventually cover all 1,000-plus games. With every edition, we'll preview and recap the next game in chronological order. And on a side note, I'll be updating the entire website to reflect this win. This means that Rice finished 2-2 in 1920, not 1-3, giving Coach Murphy a 500 all-time record. This also means that the Panthers' milestone wins were hit one game earlier, including our 600th win earned in 2018 over Henderson County, not Castle. Guys, we never would have learned about this if it weren't for you. Your support of the podcast and Panther Plus have made this possible. Get access to all the stats, newspaper, and yearbook articles mentioned today by becoming a Panther Plus member. Right now, you can try the first month out for free. Just go to WrightsFootball.com/Panther Plus, click on register, and select the monthly membership for a free 30-day trial. Cancel at any time. Thanks for listening. Do you have any questions or comments, please email me at info@WrightsFootball.com. Until next time, this is Dan Engler with WrightsFootball.com. Go Panthers!